Rydenwood. Explore and fight while exploring and fighting. That's the description of this little game. It's a free, casual RPG styled game, and it is deceptively addictive. I do actually have somewhat of a personal connection with Rydenwood. I work in the drinks industry, and after one hell of a busy Christmas period, I came home on the 23rd of December. The stress was over. I went to bed early, and I played Rydenwood for hours. This game relies on dice roll mechanics. Instead of actively attacking your enemies, you passively attack based on proximity and random chance. Standing within 2 squares of an enemy gives a random chance that your player will attack. If you're within 1 square of an enemy, there's a random chance they'll attack back. The enemy's movement is based on dice rolls too, and attacking or having your attacks blocked is based on yet more dice rolls. There's actually 2 Rydenwood games, but today I'll talk about the first one. The first game was more of a prototype made in around 14 days, but even so, I really liked this game. We start out in a small safe area. There's somewhere to save, there's somewhere to deposit your coins, there's the option of changing characters, and there's a place to upgrade the size of your coin wallet. We'll want to upgrade our coin wallet straight away, because it only holds a paltry 10 coins. Fortunately, there's treasure to collect nearby, so you'll hit that in no time. This game becomes a little bit of a balancing act with coins. You need bank coins to progress to new areas. You need to be able to hold lots of coins to prevent going back and forth too often. So do you bank your coins and save them for later, or do you invest in a larger wallet now? The first locked gate I came across requires 50 coins to get through, so I upgraded my wallet to hold 30 coins. It's a fairly short walk from the starting area, so it's not too taxing to get to. You can immediately tell which enemies are on your level. These snakes and spiders take a few hits to kill and don't bother you too much if they fight back. These ghosts and these goats take quite a bit of a beating, and if they get too close, they'll wipe out your health bar in no time. Fortunately, you can instantly refill your health with a health potion by tapping Q. I also shamelessly abuse this bug where you can attack enemies through walls. Although having spoken to the developer, this is more seen as a feature, and it allows you to take lots of tactical positions throughout the game. Levelling up in this game is quite a grind. It took me over 10 minutes to get to level 2 even, but the overall experience of the game is so effortless that it doesn't really feel like a chore having to do level grinding. Once I had the required 50 coins, I headed to the first unlockable area, a graveyard. This is a little bit of a pinch point this early on in the game. The graveyard is full of ghosts, which are a little bit too tough for my lowly level 2 character, and they almost killed me a few times. But the grid formation of the graves means you have a lot of cover to hide behind. There's a green gem here, giving an instant level up. Unfortunately, my coin wallet ended up being filled up before I got a chance to pick up all the coins, so I had to leave them behind. And my time in the graveyard had left ample time for lots of other enemies to spawn around, so I had to have a mad run back to safety. The coin purse lads will start to play you more and more as you explore further into the game. I explored some more, avoiding any overpowered enemies. I unlocked a new dungeon full of enemies way too strong for me, leveled up a little bit more, but then my coin purse was full, so I had to head back to deposit what I had before I'd finished clearing out the dungeon. And by the time you get back to the dungeon again, all the enemies have respawned, so you have to start over. Every upgrade to your wallet size costs an additional 20 coins. So upgrading your wallet to 20 coins costs 10 coins, upgrading to 30 coins costs 30 coins, upgrading to 40 coins costs 50 coins, and so on and so forth. At some point I noticed this special meter, and I didn't know what it meant. This game doesn't include any in-game instructions, so if you do intend to play, you should check the controls in the game description. Anyway, if you find yourself in a tricky situation with enemies coming at you from all sides, you can hit spacebar to use your special attack, which radiates out a long-range attack from all sides. The world of Rydenwood is both dauntingly huge and exciting to explore. It sucks you in, wondering what's behind the next locked door. But it also keeps you tethered to your safe areas by restricting how many coins you can pick up. What could be hidden here? Or here? Or over here? It's incredibly grindy, but the combat is so simple I never feel like it's particularly hard work. And it's so easy to get into, I can pick this game up after not playing for years and know exactly what to do. Eventually, with my coin wallet holding up to 100 coins and with over 300 coins in the bank, I think it's time to try and finally leave the woods. There's two places we can live, this large sprawling dungeon to the north and a slightly smaller looking labyrinth to the west. I've played this game before and this dungeon to the north actually proved to be quite a roadblock for me. So for a change this time around, let's head to the west. When I got to the gate, I found that the coin requirement to get in was 1,000 coins. Well, that's ridiculous. I guess I'll go to the northern dungeon. But the coin requirement here is 500, so I don't have that much either. I have to say these coin requirements, they're a little bit high. Anyway, I'm a massive cheater, so to farm coins and levels I just placed myself in this corner by the starting area and left the game running. I'll rack up coins and get some experience while I'm here, and hopefully when I come back to the game I'll have a solid 1,000 coins to go wherever I want. The intended way to farm coins is to revisit dungeons that have lots of enemies in them. There's also chests that contain 10 coins you can collect, and these respawn every so often, so can be collected multiple times. Whichever way you decide to do it, it's going to take you a long time to get enough coins to leave the forest. Anyway, finally with my coins stocked up, I can head into that dungeon to the west. In here, there's nowhere to hide because there's skinny corridors everywhere. I can't abuse that bug where you hide behind a wall out of harm's way. I had a few close calls, but found a small area with a save point and a bank. And here's one of the 4 treasures you can find in the game. The boots. This doubles your walking speed, and it's a literal game changer. Trudging back and forth can grow very tiresome, but with the doubled walking speed it becomes much less of a chore. There's 4 treasures hidden around the world. There's the double swords to double your attack rate, a necklace to increase the rate at which your special ability recharges, a ring to increase your health, and the boots, which we just collected. Once we break through to the other side of this dungeon, we find ourselves in a desert, and a giant scorpion immediately killed me. There's no chance of hiding behind a rock for this one, because it has an attack range of 2 blocks. I can't get anywhere else because all the padlocks I found in the desert require about 500 coins, and I am a little short at the moment. Plus this desert is incredibly hostile, it's full of enemies which I can't survive against. So I'm going to go back into the woods and unlock the dungeon to the north of the woods, which is probably what I was supposed to do in the first place. I should mention at this point that the characters aren't just visually different. The Mage and the Archer have lower defense but higher range, whereas the Knight and the Barbarian have higher defense but lower range. So I'll be using the Mage when heading to this next dungeon, and I actually ended up preferring range over defense, so I used the Mage for the rest of the game. In the dungeon there's a small passage leading out to the open seas, so I decided to head out sailing. Your character hops in this tiny little boat when you get to the water. If you ask me, it isn't worth going out to sea if you don't have the boots, as your speed by sea is much slower. There's plenty to explore out here and plenty of big tough enemies. This was actually the scariest part of the game because there's nowhere to save your game whilst out here. I fought my way through a small sea dungeon and I was rewarded with double swords to increase my attack rate. I spent around half an hour sailing around before coming all the way around to this little island where I could finally deposit my coins and save the game again. Now I hit out here on this island, the entire map's been opened up to us, so the only thing really left to do is grind for coins and explore some more. I'm going around as a level 25 Mage at this point in the game, and the game is so much easier to navigate. Enemies that used to decimate me aren't much of a bother anymore, and since I got the boots, I can just run away. I headed back to that 500 coin dungeon to the north of the woods and went through there properly. This honestly feels like a bit of a beginner's trap. The dungeon is extremely complex and full of difficult to avoid strong enemies. With my level 25 Mage, I basically breezed through it, but when I was here originally I was only around level 10, which would have made it so much more difficult. I honestly feel like the coin requirements for the 2 dungeons off the forest are the wrong way round. I managed to pick up enough coins to escape the dungeon as well, which requires a further 500 coins. And whilst I was here I tracked down the ring treasure, which gives me a permanent defense increase. So now all that's left to do is unlock the last few dungeons and get that necklace treasure. Because of my level at this point, running through the dungeons is fairly easy. A lot of the time I can just totally ignore enemies, and because the mage could reach 3 blocks away, I can passively attack enemies on the other side of these thicker walls. The necklace treasure actually turned out to be quite easy to get, only requiring a brief walk through a building, and now there's just a few more locks to unlock. And there we go, the last one. And I guess that's it. Rydenwood has no real ending. Once you've explored everywhere and found the 4 power-up treasures, there's not much else to do, except maybe take revenge on that scorpion who kept killing you. So I guess that's that. The game's completed. The further you progress in this game, the more it opens up, and the easier it is to make further progress. The difficulty curve seems a little bit off balance. I think it's far too difficult to make progress near the beginning of the game, especially as you need 500 coins to even escape the initial forest. Even so, I'm really glad I persevered with it, because the further I got into the game, the more of the map I gained access to, the faster and stronger my character got, and the more I became excited to see what else was out there. Rydenwood was made in only 2 weeks, with most of the effort going into map design. The music is all procedurally generated, so the music you hear when playing is unique to your game. As far as I know, I'm one of probably 2 people who's ever actually got this far in the game. It only has 370 downloads, about 5 of those alone are me. There's also the sequel, Rydenwood 2, Deeper Than Before. This features procedurally generated worlds, and it does have an actual endgame. Maybe I'll talk about that eventually. I've always really liked this game, and I'm glad to be able to share it with you.